Oh, I must have hit the mute button. Are you hearing it okay now? Okay, that looks like it ought to. Okay, and now? How are we sounding now? Okay, that's a relief. Okay, what do I even want to do in this? What even is this position? Okay, those pawns are kind of annoying. My pawns are also sort of annoying. Oh, well, I can do this, can't I? You practically are as it is. Oh, okay. Okay, we've just equalized there. Piece for a minor piece for a rook in both cases. Very nice. Yeah, you practically are my sound engineer. Oh, well, thank you. I made the mistake of doing my hair before getting dressed, and so it actually looked much... I had it exactly the way I wanted, and then I changed, and... hell, that's annoying. Well, obvious move, but still a little bit irritating. I kind of worked out that that was probably what it meant. I burn there as well. Burn there. Okay, what are we doing now? My rook is somewhat more active than Abdullah Hadis Pasha's. But it's kind of stuck on the back rank at the moment. There's not a whole lot of scope for it. Yeah, I hate phone keyboards. I basically don't even, unless I'm traveling, I practically don't even bother to charge my phone because every single other thing I have is a more convenient way of communicating with people than that fucking touchscreen. I mean, even the touchscreen on my tablet is at least bigger than the touchscreen on my phone. Yeah, no, that's harmless. Because the queen can't get there to threaten this, for the moment. Yeah, like, voice to text, I would not trust it at all, because it does not necessarily do well with accents, and I have sort of this weird mix of accents when I'm speaking English, so fuck. I mean, it could do all sorts of things. I'd have no idea. Oh, okay. This isn't bad. Actually, kind of... No, can't do that. Can do that. Okay, what's the move here? Okay, what's the threat? We go here. No, that's not actually. Can't go there without just that. Just loses the knight. What are we doing? Oh, I'm running out of time. Is one thing I'm doing. Now I can actually just take that one knight, which would be good. So free up some space for that pawn. Yes. I do know what you mean there. Ah, shit. Okay. Don't like this very much. Are you on Licha, Sabirami? Okay. Okay. The moment, what I'm thinking of is trying to just open up this file, get rid of this last pawn here now that it's hanging. And apparently that plan was not entirely opaque to my opponent, who has just gotten in the way of it. Okay, that's cool. Ugh, okay. That is ungreat as well. Okay, where can you go from there, though? Let's try to stay away from any knight forks. Ah, shitballs. Oh, this isn't good. There have been positions more thoroughly characterized by goodness than this one. But it is not without its benefits. Not the pawn I was going for initially, but I can work with it. Okay, there are any... Yes, there are a couple of checks left. Minute and 2 seconds to go. Okay. Oh, yes. Well. And this is why I don't resign. Right out. GG. Let me see it. Is that audio? Just checking. I'm getting paranoid about my audio now. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. I figured good things would happen if I could just break through that one of these two pawns. Well, I imagine you're not getting special audio, even though you are my honorary sound engineer. Okay. Maybe a little bit of Geoguessr next. Okay. Rengjøring en eiendomsservice. I believe we are in Norway. Actually, I feel like I've been to this area here. Is that Garde or Garte? Garde. We're in Denmark. Okay, I haven't. It just looks like a bit of Oslo that I was in a long time ago. Okay. Yes, Denmark likes their voiced consonants. Oh, hey. That's a shout out from Geoguessr right there. The universal language of ACAB. Ronderside. Command. Yes, we are definitely in Denmark. Rally Point Tactical. Lovely. I have a feeling this is Copenhagen, but I can't really say for sure. I've never been to Denmark. I don't really... But it looks like a major city, and that's the only one I really know. There's a sale on... There's a clearance sale on bed linens, apparently. At least there was at the time these pictures were taken. Aarhus Garde. Hey, Phoenix, how are ya? We are in Denmark someplace. And we've been having weird things happen to the audio, as per usual. Kanskje lite lille havfrue. Yeah, they're handy. You just have to go to Denmark to get them. Where exactly in Denmark, we haven't completely decided yet. Yes, I really look forward to those videos if you're still planning on them. Oh. Yes, and good sheets too. I work from bed. Do with that what you will. So I spend practically all day as well. I mean, really, life could actually do with a bit of catching up to bed. There are few better places. Oh, I look forward to that. That sounds interesting. Training and courses in psychotherapy. I just move this computer setup between my bed and this sort of spare bedroom area on the other side. When I'm streaming, I do it on the other side. Other times, it's just right next to my bed. Okay. I am not getting anywhere with this. Yeah, it really does sound cool. I really look forward to it whenever you've got it ready. I'm gonna guess this is someplace in Copenhagen, but fuck knows. 2.6 miles. Oh, sounding more and more interesting. Huh. And let's see, we've got link spam. Ah, shit. Yeah, no, that my crop was off because I forgot that this is actually the wind that I was trying to scroll in OBS. I mean, I didn't realize I was OBS. Okay, we're in Britain. I thought I was looking at my browser window when I was trying to drag over to just look around, and that's what did it. It's all sorts of technical shit, but we are definitely in some British-controlled jurisdiction from that speed camera sign and those yellow number plates. Which reminds me, I am out of Yorkshire Gold. Yeah, someplace unsuitable for heavy goods, but... Oh, there was good news from Turf Island. Actually, you just reminded me. Okay, so one of the big things the Turfs have been trying to do is to do with the census. Oakham and Stamford, the A606. Where's A... Okay, where are the A6s? I know, let me see. M3... M's, okay. A4. So, the Turfs were trying to get the guidance on the census changed. So, to basically refuse to acknowledge trans people's existence. And they phrased it in a fairly innocuous sort of a way. I don't remember what the exact phrasing was. But when they approached the ONS, which is of course in England and completely Tory controlled at this point, they just rolled over and changed the guidance to exactly what the Turfs wanted. But the thing is that this is a devolved power. Scotland get to decide what their own rules for the census. And so the Turfs had to approach the Scottish government, which is not quite the horrible shit show. Oh, okay, A606, is that what we're looking for? Yes, A60 between Oakham and Stanford. Hey there. Oh, Nottingham, been here. Okay. So they approached the Scottish government. Scottish government knocked him back. So it had to go to court if they wanted to try to impose their will on Scotland. I mean, they had assumed it was going to be a walkover because after all, the ONS had already changed the guidance. So, I mean, it would be normal, it wouldn't be surprising if Scotland just did what the ONS did to keep the sentences consistent. But they refused because they actually, aren't completely dominated by TERFs. And so the thing went to court. And the court ruled against the TERFs. And the thing is that a ruling from a court, even a Scottish one, it actually trumps administrative guidance, like the ONS guidance that they had obtained that the TERFs had obtained in England. So by trying to force this shit on Scotland and getting knocked back, they've actually lost in England as well. Because now the only court that has actually ruled on their requested guidance said it was unlawful. Yeah, it's a feel-good story. Okay, come on. Stamford. Where the hell's Stamford and Oak something? Oakham. Oh, let's see. Yeah. Yeah, it's a great story. Okay. Corby, Nottingham. There's some place. Okay, and 27 miles. Not too bad. 4,800. Okay, something tells me this is Japan. Between the roofing and the street, the design of the street, the fact that there's no verge. Oh, come on, you're gonna... Yep, Miyazaki. Nichinan... Okay, Nichinan Shigai Kushima... Yeah, it is as Japan as it can possibly get. Okay, Miyazaki. Miyazaki ってどこだ? Miyazaki 県に入ってるだろ? Okay. Okay. Well, let's see. My guess is good. Yeah, okay. Here's Miyazaki. Miyazaki, Jingu, Hasugaike, Sadowara. Okay, what else is the other place? We're looking at Kushima and Nichina. Cake shop. Oh, that sounds good. I could go for cakes. Minamikata Akae. Minami Miyazaki. Okay, wait. Did they say something about Miyam? No, it was Nichinan Shigai. Okay. Yes, very cool. I really can't wait to see these videos when you get them done. They sound like excellent ideas. I will certainly publicize them on the platform I have, which is not much of one, but Takanabe. 川南、早川、国富。宮崎刑務所。Oh, CC is country club. I was like, I was not exact. I thought for me CC is cricket club. Minamigata, Tayoshi, Kano, Kibana, Kutsukake, Kaeda. ああ、宮崎のどこかだ。日南. There we go. Okay, looking for the 222. 220, 430. Okay, we're gonna move over. Now that I actually can't Oh, and here's Kushima. Okay. So we're someplace that is between between Nichina and Kushima. Is that... Hey, come on. Show me. What's that? 220. 220. Is that... Was I seeing... No, I was not. I thought I might have been seeing signs of a seaside. Okay. I'm gonna guess it's someplace around here. 4.3 miles, not bad. And I'm gonna call this and say this is Australia. Although it might not be. Unless this person's driving on the wrong side of the road. 그러므로 존경하는 멋있는 사람. We got to. Oh, come on, cars, you're teasing me here. Yeah, I'm coming around to that view as well. Although, for a while, those two cars were actually both going in the same direction in different lanes. So it may just be shitty driving. Okay, but here we go. Yeah, okay, looking like RHT. In which case I'm going to say this is probably South America. Okay, and I believe... Can't quite make that out from this distance, but I think that says kilometers. Yep, kilometer 74. So, yeah, moving around even more to the view that this is South America. I mean, theoretically, it could be Botswana. Some parts of it look a bit like this. Yeah, just statistically speaking, long stretches of road with lots of green around them and no sign of anything for miles on Geoguessr tend to be Brazil, although sometimes they are the Pampa in Argentina, which has... Oh, hold on. We got a sign. A ver, a ver, a ver. Permita de base, utilice acotamiento. We are in a Spanish-speaking country. Utilice acotamiento. Okay, so we are... I'm going to say that this is Argentina. That is my preliminary view on the subject. Though, it doesn't... The street signs, the street signs look wrong for Mexico. There are bits of Mexico where the landscape looks like this. But I'm gonna say this feels like Argentina. There's just so much fairly empty land. Hold on, what have we got here? Precaución, doble semiremolque. That does not tell me anything new. But we are definitely in a Spanish-speaking country. A ver, weón. Muéstrame algo. Yeah, and these shelters seem familiar to me. I feel like I might have seen these on the trip I took across Argentina a few years back. Oh, come on. Ya, pues. Muéstrame algo. Dime dónde está esta weá. Okay, more bus shelters. Feeling pretty confident about this being Argentina. Although it's a little bit less flat than central Argentina tends to be. Argentina, the prettiest bits of Argentina are pretty much all on the edges of the country. I mean, it is absolutely striking when you come through the pass, the Uspallata Pass from Chile. You have this like little mountain village. It's like really just way up in the Andes. And if you're taking the bus, you get to spend like an hour or two there and just hang out and get something to eat and stretch your legs, which you need to because it's a 4-day journey when you're coming from Peru. And it's absolutely gorgeous. Oh, hold on. There seemed to be something in addition. Okay, we've got a route number. A ver. Mexico. 261. Okay, not Argentina after all. We're in Mexico. I did say that there are places in Mexico that look kind of like that. Okay, well, okay, it's a green part of Mexico. Well, okay, 261, a ver. I do not know the road numbering system in Mexico. Oh, hold on. What did we just see? Oh, that's doesn't give me anything that I didn't already have. I've seen some like that off in the middle of nowhere. Una principia zona urbana. Okay, we've got a built-up municipality coming in 250 meters. And this is apparently a good place to avoid accidents, which is... I mean, it's always good to know the places you can go to avoid them. Yeah, well, the palm tree would be wrong for the Pampa. Okay, we got, I think that's, Vicente... Vicente qué, weón? Vicente Guerrero. Vicente Guerrero no me dice nada. A ver. Vicente Guerrero, well. 261, that was... Hold on. 261 was the route we were after. Opelchen, that sounds so Mapuche. 261 was where we were after. Actually, all of these names sound kind of Mapuche. Tiquinmul, Opelchen, Bolonchen. Huh. Interesting. Cava, Tenabo, San Camilo. Pero Vicente Guerrero, ¿dónde está, weón? Cupil, Conchen, Pachen. They really like Chen. Like, when you get down to, like, central Chile, there are tons of towns where the name ends in Chen. Okay, we've lost 261. Opelchen, El Poste, Ulonchen, ¿dónde está, weón? Sonacté, Cabá, Lázaro Cárdenas, San Joaquín, Humán, Mérida. Okay, come on. Vicente Guerrero, weón. ¿Dónde está ahí? Progreso, Chelem, Chisculup. El Paraíso. Chichiche. Tamanche. Well, so many of these names sound totally Mapuche. Chucalpetén. There's another one. Díaz Ordaz, Francisco de Montejo, Centro, San José, Sustentable Mérida. No, Lázaro Cárdenas, it was Vicente Guerrero I'm after. Yeah, a total coincidence, I'm sure. But it's just fascinating because those names could... Yeah, you could put them in Chile and they would not immediately, just phonetically speaking, sound out of place. I do not know enough Mapudungun to know whether they would make any sense in Mapudungun. Probably not. But... Okay, Cibalchen. Okay, hold on. Is that a continuation? Oh, 261. Ah, weón. Oh, hold on. Castamay. La Divina Providencia. Lucedro. Chtun. Crucero Ja. Suctuc. Crucero San Luis. Tosco. Vicente Guerrero. Ah, ni idea. Pero vamos a meterlo acá. 51 miles. Hold on. Autovaca. Usio materiali. We are in Finland. That was easy. And we're in a fucking warehouse. Lähtevä means outgoing. Ah, damn it. Okay. Oh, hold on. No need to bother with that. There's a motorway sign. Mikkeli, Jämsä. Helsinki, Mikkeli, Jämsä. Okay. Now, that is something we can work with. So we know. Okay, Kotka. I don't think we're too far out of Helsinki. Tapiola, Pitäjänmäki. Pakkas, Vantaa. That's where the airport is. Hold on, this is the end of it? There's no more than that? Hell. Okay. This just became a little bit more complicated. But we're looking for Jämsä and Mikkeli. They should be on the same road. And Helsinki can't be too far. They can't be too far from Helsinki. Kumbostrand, Korsnäs. Haltiala. Martinlaakso, Varisto, Petikko, Luki. Finnish is fun to pronounce. Tuhkuri, Lakisto, Ketunkorpi, Luhtaanmäki, Toivala, Kerrava. Box. Allimainen. Yeah, not getting very far with this. Someplace in the periphery. Oh, 27 miles though. Not too bad. Wait, right in Lahti. And how'd I do? 24,408. Not too bad. Okay. And with that, shall we return to the Xanderhole video we were watching yesterday? Oh, by the way, Mask of the Red Death. I was watching that video you linked me to, the Sophie on the Muppet book. That was really good. I had actually started to watch that a few days ago, but had not gotten as far as the bit where Thought Slime shows up. And yeah, I think that they really hit it on the head when they said that Muppet thinks fascism is communism. I mean, a lot of things make sense when you kind of take that approach, when you take that understanding of it, because the only things he seems to care about in communism are, state planning and constant increases in productivity. Okay, we're gonna get that audio input up so that we can hear the dickhead. And reviewing Destiny versus Bad Empanada, debating about genocide, and then Doom.
And that group who came in and
Probably
colonized are the ones who sort of dominate this new society. They pretty much unequivocally see the previous population as a problem that's going to require some sort of solution, which is generally something like assimilation, extermination.
Why is he rambling on without really saying anything?
What? Rambling on without saying anything? That's really? Does he not understand what was just said, or does he just not want to acknowledge it? Because the whole point there kind of runs directly counter to this whole idea that he and Foch are pushing, that decolonization is genocide, by pointing out that actually the whole process of settler colonialism is based in one form of genocide or another. I mean, does he actually not comprehend that? I can imagine that he might not. He is ignorant. He really does not know very much about anything, as far as I can tell. But, yeah. I mean, he wasn't rambling either. He was being completely coherent. That was Destiny understood it. Yeah, he came up with a fucked up response to it, which we're probably about to see in a second. But he understood it at least. Xanderhole, what the hell is Xanderhole even? Because how is he even to be be reviewing these debates if he doesn't even understand the basic concepts involved in them, which apparently he does not.
Yeah, and I guess.
And why does anyone want to watch him doing it?
Sort of began in Ireland, with the English, and then.
I'm so glad my ex failed to get me into Rust. It really is hard to start. Lamau, I got him into League though. Disgusting. You do need to start playing Rust though. It is the best game ever made.
Was sort of exported.
And let me see. Let's see. Chat has some substantive things for once. That is not a given in the world of Xanderhole and Foch. Xanderhole, I'm glad that we share the same perspective on the relationship between the context of a person's beliefs. I'm giving them a Scottish accent, fuck 'em. And our assessment of their personal character. Would you therefore agree that we should view someone like Professor Flowers differently from someone like Nick Fuentes? Well, fucking yeah. Not the conclusion of their ideas, but how we should treat them and assess their character. Well, fucking yeah. Well, one of them's a fucking Nazi and the other one isn't. I mean, if he's gonna try to suggest that there's anything, that they have anything in common, that there isn't a fairly clear line between them, then he is seriously telling on himself. Because then there's really, you can't claim that you've made a clean break with fascism, as he does, and blur the boundaries to the extent that you'd have to in order to suggest that the two should be viewed the same way. Oh, and somebody comes in to say that they used to be kind of anti-Semitic at 14. Well, I guess that's the admission price of the Xanderhole fandom.
The Americas, especially North America, some parts of Africa, etc. It's also been done by people who aren't European as well, like Japan, for example. But I guess that's basic.
So, I actually completely agree with that, Kevin Thompson. Obviously, while you could argue that the ideas that Professor Flowers and Nick Fuentes hold morally are, just on their own in a vacuum.
Ah, shit. My headphone cut out on that for a second. Fucking Bluetooth.
and Nick Fuentes hold morally are like just on their own in a vacuum, outside of any moral, or not moral, any outside of any practical application, like whether or not like one is more like practical to occur than the other or anything like that. And we're just talking about like in a vacuum, like their moral beliefs. They're probably on the same level of like bad political opinions. Very base tower, by the way. They're probably.
Oh, well, there we go. Well, see, I struggle to believe that these people could be unaware of that too. But I think the key to this is that these people, the fandom that he and Foch have cultivated, is a fandom of people who do not really give a shit about the subject of the debate. They just want to see these guys like browbeat somebody. That's all they care about. And so they're not going to go and do their research and say, oh wow, holy shit, Lua didn't say anything like that. It's complete. Vosh is a total fucking liar, and Xanderhole is a sort of tick that's stuck on a fucking liar's ass. I don't know, there are honorable twinks in the world who probably would not want to be lumped in with him, but, like, suggesting that putting Professor Flowers on a level to Nick Fuentes, that is... See, what he's saying there, apart from just how fucked up that is that there is absolutely... He draws no line between, like, being a fucking genocidal Nazi and... yes, it is sad. And not being one. So how the hell is anyone... His entire marketing campaign is on the idea that he used to be a Nazi and now he isn't one. And here he is saying that basically Nazi, not Nazi, it's the same thing.
On the same level of just bad political opinions, like morally speaking. The issue is that, like, where Professor Flowers is coming from, I feel like, even if she is being extremely dishonest, and I really can't tell where she actually is.
What the fuck? She's being extremely dishonest. You have just outright lied about what she said in just not even a clever way. Like, a way that... it's actually... Mask, I just want to add, because this comes back to what on the Sophie stream that you linked me to. They were talking about how Muppets book sort of... Oh, you have a cat. I love cats. How Muppet's latest book sort of gives people these sort of self-selection points where you're either self-selecting into or out of the fandom depending on whether you make these bizarre leaps of something, of some kind of substitute for logic with him or not. And I think that's what goes on. The people who look at this and say, wow, these people are full of shit and what they say makes absolutely no fucking sense, just decide not to watch this crap. And the people who watch it don't give a shit. Who's Josh?
Getting her opinions from, or what she's being motivated by. I feel like her motivations are probably coming from a better place than Nick Fuentes.
Oh, you reckon? So opposing racism and colonialism might possibly be a better place than being a fucking Nazi? Oh, voice to text, is it? I mean, he thinks that maybe not being a Nazi might be a better place to be coming from than being a Nazi. This is can he tell on himself more? Let's see. Maybe he will. This is a long-ass stream. Well, it's supposed to be him playing Doom, I'm guessing.
Now, in action, like morally, they're...
I want a Doom mod where all of the mobs in Doom are just kind of replaced with him, Foch, and Dennis Prager's heads. So you can just sort of run around punching them.
Opinions are both, like, bad, but does that mean that we ought to treat Professor Flowers maybe a little nicer? than we would Nick Fuentes. I think
Which would be the opposite of the way he and Foch normally act, because they usually treat Nazis nicer.
so, yeah, and I think I do. I think overall we've all treated Professor Flowers far nicer than the left is than anyone has treated Nick Fuentes. Okay.
What? See, God, the level, like, how the hell does he manage to say he and Foch are just so comprehensively full of shit, and they just lie. I mean, they lie so calmly. They clearly just have absolutely do not give a fuck what their words are actually going to do to people. Neither of them have. I do not buy that either of them have, apart from being fairly racist, that they have any legit political perspective at all. Because that requires something other than moral apathy. I guess moral apathy to others is kind of a political perspective. That certainly can be political. But they just don't seem to give a shit. They have no respect for their audience, who they're also lying to here. They have no respect for, like, anything except, well, their own fucking view numbers. Oh, wow, okay. And we have Fuchsia Canid in chat here on Sander Hole's stream saying, at the end of the day, Professor Flowers is still anti-white, even if she's not as malicious as Fuentes. Yeah, okay. I mean, it's true. It's true what he was saying that we saw last night, that he purposely creates a stream that Nazis will be comfortable with, which is why Nazis feel comfortable saying bullshit like that.
Obviously, we've treated Professor Flowers and Nick Fuentes to completely different standards. Hey, Merrick, what's up?
Yes, you hold Nick Fuentes to a much lower standard.
What's up? Damn, a lot of people popping in today. We had Chris Raygun here, we had Vermin here, now we got Merrick, Pog.
Weird.
Sure. How is this relevant to like Western world stuff right now, or is this just like strictly used for like?
It's more relevant, I guess, the further
that
along
Dan
that
on the side of the
things are in
sex
certain
tower?
places, right? Like, I guess it's relevant, but it's relevant at different levels. Like when I talk about like South Africa, right? Like that was a sort of example of like really evident, like the most evident ongoing colonialism imaginable. But
Hey,
it's
Ursula, how you doing?
Oh, I don't. Well, people. I don't know. Most evident. It's definitely up there, but a lot of people who were fighting against apartheid in South Africa have gone on to say that actually what's going on in Palestine is actually more blatant and worse than the shit they were fighting against. So, I would say it's trying to create a fucking league table of these things I don't think is particularly useful, but I mean, Palestine is certainly way up there, and certainly South Africa also felt that what Israel is doing and was doing at that time was akin to them. And in fact, you have this whole thing where pro-apartheid South Africans who don't like the new dispensation are opportunistically converting to Judaism just so that they can move into West Bank settlements and have that apartheid experience back. So basically, pro-apartheid South Africans and anti-apartheid South Africans, the one thing they agree on is that Israel is a good example of apartheid and of the ongoing colonization. In fact, I mean, in terms of land grabbing, I mean, honestly, I'm not familiar to the same level with South Africa as I am with Palestine on that, but I feel like they were more or less sort of fucking around at the margins in terms of land grabbing by, say, the 1970s, 1980s in South Africa, whereas they are very actively just seizing huge amounts of land, kicking people off both in the West Bank and in Israel proper, in the Naqab, the Negev. They just kicked a whole family out to build a new settlement. So, yeah, I don't know. I'd say that they're pretty close to each other.
The places.
I
Like
see
in
you
the
got
US,
that
for
FODS
example, you have like indigenous groups that are still existing who have basically a fraction of their original territory, if even, and you know, that struggle for their
Hey, Lonnie. Thank you. I love you more.
That
What
poor
kind of tree
woman.
cutting is that, Lamau? This game is fucking great. Basically, harvesting materials in Rust is kind of a mini game, and so when you hit like when you're hitting a tree with an axe, that you want to hit the little painted X's each time. It's kind of like the Fortnite thing where you hit the the soft spots and you get extra stuff.
It's
And
interesting when it comes to when it comes to this in-depth education on settler colonialism that Bad Empanada is giving, and he's got very little or nothing to say. He just, I mean, apart from saying, why is he rambling like this? I mean, he has absolutely no response. He does not understand, and he doesn't know it well enough to even bullshit against it. He's just completely vapid. And so, anytime somebody starts talking about Rust, he seizes the opportunity. Suddenly his words per minute go way up.
Fortnite actually stole that from the...
The way Natty411 says, the way she talks about white colonizers reminds me a lot about a lot of the way I talk about pedophiles. Lol, we should just get rid of them, lol. Interesting.
This? I saw a pillow. I saw.
Yeah, well, first of all, she never actually said we should just get rid of them. She was... God, I mean, this bullshit story has really taken on a life of its own, because what she wasn't actually... She was there to explain ideologies that she actually isn't... Ooh, that sounds yummy. That she does not actually herself adhere to, and was blindsided with all sorts of bullshit hypotheticals from Nick Fuentes, I mean Vosh. When it comes to white genocide, they kind of sound a lot the same. And now supposedly she's supposed to have said we need to get rid of them. She never even said the thing that Foch kept on trying to get her to say. He kept on trying to get her to just outright advocate genocide, he needed her, he kept on trying to find ways to put those words in her mouth, and she never did. And he just turned around and lied about it anyway. And now they're just kind of elaborating their new versions of this bullshit. I mean, these people clearly do not actually give a shit what actually happened. They've been given a hate figure, and see, I mean, and this is why it's so dishonest as well, that when Foch and Sanderhole pretend that they have nothing to do with these racist hate mobs that rock up to Professor Flowers, etc. Because they could put a stop to this immediately by just saying, yeah, that actually didn't happen, that's not true, she didn't say that, that's bullshit. And instead they egg it on. Watch, is he going to respond to this and say... I mean, he already basically equated her to Nick Fuentes, for fuck's sake.
I also watched the new Lord of the Rings show trailer. Yeah, we did that at the beginning of the stream, Pillow. You missed it. You missed it! Fake Zan fan! Fake Zan fan! Yeah? Parfait? Maybe in a little while. Okay. Oh no. Alright, guys. Oh, this is a weird looking vape. Ooh.
The pita crackers want the power, but not the responsibility.
It's got a little piece of tape on it. Oh, it's got like, this looks expensive. The fuck? It's got like this cool little reflective stuff. Smells like gum. Smells like cool mint gum. Ooh, it is cool mint. Ooh, this should taste good.
Okay, okay. Oh, of course. Oh, it's a
Zan
vape.
always
I was
gets the
wondering what the
exotic
fuck
vapes.
this was.
No, Lonnie just gets me whatever she can find that's in the flavors that I like, and it's always going to be something mentholy. I really like the flavor, basically menthol. So I look for anything ice, mint, basically anything along
Oh
those lines.
god.
Own sorts of their own like self-determination, their own rights, etc.
Yeah, but like, how does that
is
work?
also
Like, what's the
a-
Wait,
solution?
the marks
Like,
on that
never-
tree
you're
just
not-
disappeared
how do you know
after
if
it
you're
fell.
morally right to like give them
Where's
the territory
Doom?
back? Like, how's
After
that
we
work?
review the debate, Crafter
Well,
Lula.
if I can make an analogy that a lot of people are much more familiar with, because you know it's difficult to introduce this to people who just haven't really thought about this that much, but people have thought about.
Which is a bit of shade here. I mean, that's shade, because you'd think, I mean, he fucking, Destiny has this whole thing where he's sort of, yeah, he plays Rust, but, you know, he's a shitty political commentator. And one expects that somebody who, oh, CBD sounds good, I could go for some of that. God, I miss weed. It's just... and you kind of expect that a person who is, you know, commenting on current affairs in various ways might care enough to actually be informed about current affairs, and yet Destiny clearly is just hearing all this shit for the very first time. Yeah, I love... CBD and its parent compound are wonderful for sleep. I mean, they clearly just do not give a shit about the substance of these issues, because they really, I mean, they are just academic debates for the two of them. I mean, fucking Destiny and this dickball over here. I mean, this doesn't actually personally affect any of them. So they don't have to give a fuck, and they have cultivated an audience of people who also don't. But shit. I can't, also, God, menthol. I cannot do... I have occasionally been desperate for a smoke, and I remember, and somebody hands me one of those, and I try to do it, but yeah, God, it just makes me sick.
One example of colonialism a whole lot, which is Nazism. A lot of people, you know, we don't really think about it in these terms, but the Nazis were very clear that they saw their invasions of Eastern Europe as sort of a project of colonialism, just on like a very large and much more organized scale than ever before, really.
He
And
nuked
that
anyone
goal
who
was to
mentions
sort of,
infrared in
you know,
this
take the
chat.
land from the people who live there.
Yeah, I mean, and he doesn't, Bad Empanada doesn't get into this, but the Nazis were pretty explicit about their role models, and their main role model was the U.S., and to a lesser degree the British Empire, but they really kind of liked the way the U.S. handled the genocide of the indigenous population here. They were very impressed with it, and they decided to improve on it.
Kill them, enslave them, deport them, or whatever, and take it for sort of German settlers, right? And we can ask the same sort of question about that. Like, okay, if colonialism, you know, if it would even be moral one day for someone who lives in this like hypothetical successful...
That does make material collecting more fun. It is really boring in Minecraft currently. I know, right? Imagine if they added...
Oh, that's... Okay, this is material... I was wondering, why the fuck... I mean, this just seems like a really boring-ass game if you're just walking around cutting down trees. I mean, I guess...
sort of mini game to breaking blocks in Minecraft that wasn't like tedious or annoying to do, but added like a little, like, you didn't have to do it, but it could help you break a block quicker, right? Like maybe when you started mining a block, there'd be certain little like pixels that you could specifically hover over that would result in the block breaking faster. So if you're fast enough at hovering over those pixels while you're mining, the block will break even faster. You know, that could be a cool way of doing it. And maybe you get like, if you hit enough of them, then sometimes you get like an...
I won at tea. I finished the tea before it got cold. That is called winning at tea. I kicked tea's ass today.
extra block from breaking it. That could be a really cool system they could add to the game to make mining a little more fun. Not only could you mine faster and it would add a little skill to mining, but also, yeah. Rust looks like a fucking fever dream. Listen, Chris Reagan, if you're ever down to boot up Rust and hop on with me, I will show you the ropes. It is probably one of the best games ever made. It is one of the few games where I feel like what you...
How about a version where you can farm XP by, like, just sort of kicking a mob that looks like Xanderhole in the nuts?
Do really feels like it matters, because the way it works is
I mean,
Sort of-
each fucking mod he does on his hair, or this new, like, this stubble thing he's got going here, just makes me want to smack him a little bit more. He's a fucking fashy weeble.
and you're on for a whole wipe.
Under
The wipe could
Thunder
either be a
Asterisk
week.
has donated asterisk $5.
Thank you, Under the Thunder. I really appreciate that. The wipe could either be a week long, 2 weeks long, a month long, etc. And throughout that wipe, you're on an island with a bunch of different people. There's in-game voice chat and everything, and it's mostly PvP oriented. And your goal is to run around, collect resources, build up a base, and start advancing from like bows and arrows and crossbows and like spears and stuff like that to assault rifles, rocket launchers, C4, helicopters, full body armor.
Okay. Is Audrey Ramirez somebody I should know? I like the line, to be clear. I haven't heard it before, but the name, it's like, it's sort of on this sort of uncanny valley of kind of familiar, except I can't completely place it. Tamara Madjeyeva at Yebilas. Block user on YouTube. Fucking link spam. I'm getting a diverse array of link spam now. I mean, I guess this means that I'm getting some algorithmic support at this point. Oh, okay. I have not seen any movies with Atlantis in the name. Though I did see The Abyss, where watching a constant feed of Earth television makes a group of some sort of extraterrestrials decide that humanity really should not continue.
AK-47s, M4s, shit like that, right? And you're basically in an arms race with every other person on the server to get the best gear in the game. And your goal is to get, you know, super decked out with you and your friends, and then raid other people, destroy their base, get to all their gear, steal it, and take it back to your base, and then make them cry about it in the global chat. It's very fun. It's a great game. Rust is a very steep learning curve, though. I really wanted to kill myself for the first 20 hours of the game. TBH Rust still makes me want to die sometimes. The best way to learn Rust is to play...
Okay, since he's not saying anything of particular interest at the moment, so let me see and skip ahead a little bit. We're running out of time for this evening. But... this is like one of the sort of struggles I have with the space that I do this stream in, is finding a way where I can sort of comfortably lean in towards the camera. Because I have this sort of this scuffed little sofa here, and it doesn't offer a whole lot of back support, and when I lean back, it's just really not the most flattering camera angle around. But figuring out a way to get enough back support that I can lean in is not easy. Okay, let me check my Twitter DMs. Jesus Christ. Okay. This shit really is getting out of hand. Somebody edited a thumbnail of a black Hitler for a video talking about Professor Flowers. I mean, that is fucked up. Honestly, I do not like libel laws. I'm not a fan of them. I have not availed myself of them, despite occasionally having had occasion to do so. As anyone who's seen my Google search results will be aware. But I just can't help but observe that even if we consider all of the people involved, Foch, Zanderhol, and Lua, all to be public figures within the meaning for First Amendment purposes, They do, Vosh in particular, Vosh and Vanderholt do not have New York Times versus Sullivan protection. And I would actually kind of love to see them try to defend this against libel. As much as I fucking hate the libel laws, I mean, it's just so... I mean, they're just lying so fucking shamelessly. Yeah, I know. I mean, they would not... Because they really have not got... The standard is, when it's a public figure as a plaintiff, that in order to get into court at all, you have to show that A, the statement that you're complaining of is false, and B, that either the defendant knew it was false or exercised reckless disregard for the truth of the matter. And Fosh certainly fucking knew it was false, because the utterances he's lied about are things that were said in his presence, have been recorded. He can go back any time and look at them. He knows exactly that he is lying. I mean... I would be seriously tempted.
Very
So
much
much
still
People that
exists.
consider themselves like Celtic people anymore, or
I mean,
Oh, that's right. This is one of the bullshits that that Destiny came up. We said, well, what about the Celts? And the thing is, actually, anthropologically speaking, ethnologically speaking, there is at the very least a great deal of debate over whether there ever was a unified people that called themselves that. From what I've understood, the tendency is more toward considering that to be an exonym, a term that, in particular, the Romans used to describe certain groups of people who pissed them off. I mean, Celtic is more than anything a language family, and it's not a language family that has any presence at this point in Poland, or, I mean, I don't know if it ever had a presence in Poland, but it might have. I mean...
they can, but it's not like we have a group of people who consider themselves Celtic people without, like, a good example of this.
wait, hold on,
I mean, I know
please
you don't
wait,
like
yeah, wait,
examples.
no, it's not that I don't.
I have a very direct...
Hey, if you want to know why Celtic culture doesn't really exist to the same degree that like Banapanada would need it to for them to have the same level of claim to like anti-colonial.
Well, it isn't Bad Empanada who'd need it. I mean, the person who came up with this was some dickhead in Destiny's chat. And Destiny also, I mean, follows the golden law of debate pro ignorance, and also is not up on this. But, I mean, there is, at the very least, serious question about whether there ever were a self-identifying nation of Celts. We have a whole bunch of people who speak Celtic languages, mostly off to the west. I mean, you have the Bretons, the the Cornish, Welsh, Scottish, Irish Manx. And there were some also in the Iberian Peninsula at some point, but not anymore. But the idea that there was ever some unified group of people calling themselves Celts as their sole, like, ethnic identifier, I mean, the idea that is not really a thing.
Colonial like action, as say black people in the world would, is well, let's be honest, it's because Celtic culture has been sort of, not degraded, but like it's not quite as pervasive as it once was, in part due to colonialism. Like, yeah, colonialism happened to them.
Well, thanks for... Finally, we found somebody who will acknowledge that colonialism happened to. Because I thought that, from the way he's talked about the subject so far, it's always been, like... He equates it to shit Nick Fuentes says, basically suggests that the people who are colonized have nothing to complain about. I mean, what we do have is Celtic languages, Oh, wow. Okay, we are running out of time. But as far as there ever being some sort of Celtic nation that as opposed to just various people speaking what came to be known as Celtic languages, that's not really clear. I'm not completely up on this, but I remember reading something a while back about this being very much debated. And okay, we got 3 minutes to go. Oh, well, let's see.
That's why there's not as much Celtic stuff going around anymore. They were kind of relegated to pretty small geographic area, by colonialism.
Wait,
Example
no.
to use here.
I want to talk about one thing because this is like you've hopped on like 3 or 4 different.
Wait, there's not so much Celtic stuff going on? I mean, if anything, the other end of colonialism that Celtic peoples also participated in through French imperialism and British imperialism has spread the Celtic stuff all over the place to the extent that the number system that is used in modern Welsh was developed in a Welsh colony in Argentina. The decimal number system that they use in Welsh today, they used to have a vigesimal system, a system based on 20 as the base unit. And when they had the Wladfa, the Welsh colony that they set up in Patagonia, like 100 odd years ago, yeah, this was the first time in a while that you'd had this sort of very much more official Welsh language revival, and they said, it would be much more practical if we used base 10 because it's just an easier way to calculate shit. And they came up with the numbers that these days are used in modern Welsh. I mean, so the idea that Celtic stuff that there's not much of it, I mean, yes, like, Celtic territories inhabited by Celtic-speaking peoples have certainly declined compared to their height. Like, much of England used to be Wales. I mean, in fact, you go into England, you find plenty of Welsh place names and anglicized Welsh place names. And very much the same. Actually, some of Scotland also used to be Wales, including where, I always want to say Leonard the Bruce, which is totally wrong. Robert the Bruce and William Wallace, the part of Scotland that the two of them are from, was Wales for much of Welsh history. And then Wales kind of got knocked back by first by the Anglo-Saxons and then by English colonialism, starting in the early Middle Ages, and then Scotland sort of took it over, and England decided they didn't want to fuck with that, so that border just kind of stuck. And with that, I'm going to wish everybody a good night. Thanks so much for coming. It was a pleasure as usual. And I guess we will pick this up on Friday. Have a good night. And with that, let us end the stream.